My best friend Vera and I went to university together. There were no places in the dormitory, so we found a cramped one-bedroom at some grandmother's place. The apartment was ugly, dark, and neglected, but we paid almost nothing for it. We renovated it a little, and it seemed even cozy. The landlady visited us infrequently, for we could not spoil anything of value. The furniture was old, everything was falling apart, we could just throw it away. We got straight A's for a year, and then Verka got a taste of life without her parents. She found a biker guy and spent nights with him, riding around town on his motorcycle. I never liked her racing. That evening Vera prepared herself especially carefully. The boy was to introduce her to his parents. He came to pick her up, and she was glowing with happiness. I reminded her that tomorrow was the exam and that she shouldn't stay up too late. I invited my classmate to my room. We were good friends, and it was easier for us to prepare for the exam together. We had a very fruitful evening. We sat on the internet, then Lyasha ran out for a beer. We wrote cheat sheets, had fun, figured out where to hide them discreetly. We were having so much fun that we didn't notice that it was 1 o'clock in the morning. We decided that Lyasha could sleep on my floor, and tomorrow we would go to the university together and help Vera with the test. I fell asleep instantly. I remember dreaming something so blue, like an abyss was pulling us into itself, and Vera was being pulled into the maelstrom. I started calling out for her, sort of screaming. Maybe I was screaming in reality, too. But then I heard the front door slam. The dream mixed with reality, and I got a little creepy. It was dark enough in the room, but the light from the street illuminated it a little. I began to sink back into the dream, as if aware that my friend was here, just to avoid stepping on Lyasha in the dark. I heard the familiar creaking of the floorboards and the sound of footsteps. Without opening my eyes, I told Verka to go to bed, or she would not be able to pass her exams in the morning, but no one answered. I opened my eyes and saw her figure against the window. She was all shaggy, her head turned unnaturally toward her left shoulder, as if she were lying on it. I froze and felt cold and shivering. I asked Verka what was wrong with her, but she froze as if she were made of wax. I got up and asked her to stop joking around. Grabbed my cell phone from the counter. The time was 3:17 a.m., as I remember it now. Leka hissed, apparently awake, too. And then the light from the cell phone illuminated Verka's face, and I involuntarily cried out. It seemed wrong, disfigured. She staggered back, her head still resting unnaturally on my shoulder. She shifted slightly toward me, then said weakly that she wasn't going to take the exam, and moved toward the kitchen. My heart was doing muffled rapid beats, and I was trembling. Lyaka woke up and asked what was wrong with Vera, and I turned on the wall lamp. The room lit up with light. I followed my friend into stunned. The kitchen was empty. Lyaka came in after me. He saw Vera, too, and noticed the strangeness, too. She couldn't get out. We have a creaky front door and a loud rattling lock. But where had she gone? What kind of practical joke is this? We searched the apartment. Basically, there was nowhere to hide. The old dresser, the dining table, the couch, the bed. We spent the night without sleep, not understanding what had happened. We were uncomfortable. We even looked around the outside of the house. Maybe somewhere she was saying goodbye to her boyfriend? But she was nowhere to be found. In the morning at the university, we were taking a test. Verka was still missing. Her cell phone was off. We just couldn't find out where she was. I had a headache. By the time they gathered us in the auditorium, I was already confused. Then the dean came and informed us that our classmate had passed away that night. Verka and her boyfriend had crashed. Everything was a blur at that moment. They took me to the nurse's office and I got hysterical. Later we learned details that shocked Leka and me. Verka crashed around 2 in the morning, her neck was broken, her head was literally hanging out, and her face was covered with cuts. The guy's lungs were damaged and there was a brain hemorrhage. After that I started stuttering. That same day I moved out of that apartment and moved in with Leka. Then I dreamed that my friend had a brand new motorcycle helmet, and she handed it to me and told me that she didn't need it, but that it wouldn't hurt me. Lyasha and I started dating. I stayed with him, and then we got married. Sometimes we go to Vera's grave, and I can't hold back tears because she was so young, so cheerful and carefree. And the night she died, she went back to where she lived.